Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Chat Sports, and today, let's take a look at the latest San Francisco 49ers news and rumors. If you thought the quarterback news surrounding Jimmy Garoppolo was bizarre, just wait. We're going to jump right into even more bizarre Jimmy Garoppolo-related quarterback news. Let's start with the first one. How about this? Have you seen this rumor? You probably have. ESPN is all over this. Kirk Cousins is a target for the 49ers next offseason. Yep, that's where we're going with the very first storyline here on the 49ers report. It's just unbelievable. So, of course, Kirk Cousins, free agent in 2021 after signing that 4-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. And SI, ESPN are now reporting that Jimmy Garoppolo will be on the clock this year, a.k.a. they'll be monitoring him, monitoring how good he does, I guess. Like, we gotta make sure he plays well, or else they're gonna trade him at the end of this year and then sign Kirk Cousins whenever he becomes a free agency. Now, you're probably saying, Thomas, woo, where is this even coming from? Well, Kirk Cousins and Kyle Shanahan were together for 2 years in Washington, D.C., and it really all starts because Diana Russini, a host at ESPN, was on Get Up yesterday, I believe, and said this about Kirk Cousins, quote, "I've never seen somebody want a quarterback as bad as Kyle Shanahan has. It was a deal that almost happened, too. Kirk Cousins almost wound up with Kyle in San Francisco. It did not. I think they're waiting for that deal to wrap up." And she would go on to say that she believes this is true, that she sourced it, that she really thinks that the 49ers are not sold on Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, you hear this and you go, wait a second, when did Kyle Shanahan want Kirk Cousins? Has he wanted him this bad all along? Why did he try to get him whenever Kirk Cousins eventually went from the Washington Redskins to the Minnesota Vikings? Well, I did some digging, right? I did some looking back into old interviews that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have both done. I found this one from John Lynch on ESPN Radio in 2018. Right after this all kind of went down with Jimmy Garoppolo, quote, "We made the trade," that's the Jimmy Garoppolo trade, "but then there were some days when Kyle Shanahan was like in mourning. I think everybody knows his master plan was to have Kirk Cousins come in eventually. I was proud of Kyle. I think he knew this was the right thing for our franchise, and he didn't hesitate, but then, even then, Jimmy had to really prove himself." I mean, good Lord. So there is a little bit of truth to this, and the truth is that, yes, Kyle Shanahan is a huge fan of Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' best years, you can argue, were with Kyle Shanahan whenever he was the OC underneath Jay Gruden over there in Washington during the whole RG3, and then Kirk Cousins, the fiasco that's been the Washington Redskins. So let me just go ahead and say it and preface by saying this, and you're probably seeing the Jimmy Garoppolo versus Kirk Cousins stats being thrown up on your screen right now. Don't worry about those right now. Which quarterback last year went to a Super Bowl? Go ahead. I'll give you a second. Which one? Which one went to the Super Bowl? It was Jimmy Garoppolo. You can make the argument Kirk Cousins had better weapons. Last year, think about this. Cousins has better receivers, Diggs and Adam Thielen. Cousins has a better overall running back in Dalvin Cook. Cousins has a really good defense. Not as good as ours, but a good defense. They were able to make it to the divisional round, right? They had that one-win wild card road game, obviously, against the Saints. And then who did they lose to? Hang on. Just think about it. You see what where I'm getting at this? It's just dumb. It's ridiculous. Now, could there be some truth to this? Sure. And if Jimmy Garoppolo is awful in 2020 and we win like 5 games and he gets benched, then maybe, just maybe, this could actually happen. But it's not going to happen. Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to get benched. It's just more ridiculous quarterback rumors. I am not worried about Jimmy Garoppolo for Kirk Cousins at all, but I want to go ahead and start the video by showing you this type of stuff we're dealing with right now in San Francisco, because apparently everyone forgot how great Jimmy Garoppolo was this past year. Okay, before we move on, let me know in the comment section down below during the ad break, would you even consider signing Kirk Cousins next year in the 2021 free agency period? Let me know in the comment section. I want to read what you guys have to think about this ridiculous rumor. Moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at the contract situation for Emmanuel Sanders and the latest report out of Sanders' Twitter handle himself, saying that there has been no contract talks at all for our young star wide receiver. So, of course, he was traded from Denver back at the trade deadline a couple of months ago, right before really the season kind of started heating up in terms of a playoff push. The legal tampering period starts March 16th, means we are very, very close to free agency actually beginning. And as you're going to see in a tweet here very, very quickly, Emmanuel Sanders is denying this whole idea that anyone has actually had in contact with him in terms of a trade. Let me go and pull up the tweet here on my screen really, really quickly. And you'll see that there is a 49er reporter who is essentially, and this is KP Show, he's not like verified, but he is a reporter. He does cover the 49ers for a blog website, saying that a source to the Niners did offer Sanders $5 to $6 million a year less than what he wanted. And then Sanders himself, you see it's verified, came back and said, dude, you're making stuff out of your blank. No offer has been sent and no talks have been made. Bad reporting at its finest, SMH. So, then what do we do? Like, I mean, do we believe Sanders? Do we believe the reporter? I went and actually read a story that the reporter put out after Sanders called him out on Twitter. He basically said, listen, hey, I have a source. I believe the source, I trust the source, and I will stand behind my journalism. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If not, though, I'm going to run circles around Emmanuel Sanders cheering or whatever he said in his little article. So, listen, I think a hypothetical contract for Emmanuel Sanders looks something like this: 3 years and $30 million. That's what he wants, most likely, about $10 million per year for the next 3 years. Now, if the report is that we offered Sanders $5 to $6 million less, that means we're offering him like $6 to $7 million. Like, that's it. Maybe even less than that. So it's going to be interesting to see which is actually true. Although I would stand behind the idea that if we have not offered him any contracts yet, if Sanders is being truthful on Twitter, that means we're not going to re-sign him, because we are days away. Really, I know it's like a week and a half or whatever it is. We are very close to free agency beginning, and these people really start talking to other teams like crazy the second free agency starts in mid-March. So I would not be surprised if we have not talked to Emmanuel Sanders yet, if that we are actually going to go ahead and re-sign him. I think he's going to go ahead and leave San Francisco. I've said that here for many, many weeks. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. Will Sanders stay in San Fran? Type Y down below for yes. Type N down below for no. I'd go with N, but hey, I'm curious what you guys think overall. Before we move on, March Madness, it's not been canceled yet. NBA games are still happening, and if you're sitting at home, you gotta self-quarantine yourself with coronavirus, why don't you go ahead and bet on sports with our friends at BetDSI. Chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code 49ers, and you'll get a 120% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. So again, if you're chilling at home, right, you self-quarantine yourself, hopefully you're okay, right? But you can still bet with our friends at BetDSI. Again, chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code 49ers. Moving on. The other day, in a video, which you can watch after this video, just, of course, subscribe to the channel, whatever, we talked about trading back. We talked about the Niners, what a trade back would look like in terms of going from 31 and moving back into the second or third round, because they have 0 day 2 picks. Well, there are some teams that have been reported to want to move up. Multiple sources are kind of confirming this, and I think trading back it seems like a likely scenario right now for our 49ers. So here are some teams that have been rumored to be interested in making some trades in terms of maybe back in the first round, or especially up into the first round from later rounds. We talked about one yesterday, the Colts, the Bucks, the Eagles, and Panthers, as well, as all these teams have a lot of picks. Each of them have 10 plus picks, say that 3 times fast, 10 plus picks, there you go, in the 2020 NFL Draft. So don't be surprised, sitting at 31, if one of these teams decides to go ahead and trade back in to either get a wide receiver or get an lineman or maybe a running back, who knows. Colts, Bucks, Eagles, Panthers have a ton of picks, and they all make sense in terms of rumors that are kind of swirling about they might want to go ahead and trade up in the NFL Draft. We'll show what we showed you guys yesterday. Here's what a trade with like the Colts would look like. Again, if you're just first time watching this video, the 49ers would get the Colts' 44th overall pick and a third-round draft pick, and the Colts would get the 49ers, of course, first-round draft pick, 31 overall, and then a fifth-round pick, kind of about 157 if you're going to pick one of our 2 fifth-round draft picks. So that's what it would look like if this trade was actually going to happen. But I want to show you guys that there are some teams that are interested. There'll be a lot of moves, I think, in the first round of this draft, because teams are going to fall in love with certain players. Don't be surprised if multiple teams are picking up the phone and calling John Lynch saying, hey, can we come up? Like, you want to go back? And then we'll have to see what the 49ers decide to do after that. Before we go on, don't be afraid to subscribe to the 49ers Report by clicking the red subscribe button down below. That is the best way to be notified by clicking the notification bell whenever we drop a brand new video here on the 49ers Only Chat Sports YouTube channel. We're approaching 18,000 subscribers, so go ahead and subscribe down below. Final quick bit of housekeeping news here regarding Emmanuel Moseley and the 5 players the 49ers went ahead and tendered the other day, because people are asking me on Twitter, what's this whole tendering thing? Do we re-sign players? Essentially, yes, you did. So tendering players, you can basically tender guys who are young in the NFL but have only been in the NFL for 3 years, but their contract is up. You can kind of tender them for a 1-year deal at a very cheap price. And so the Niners are showing their love for a young guy like Emmanuel Moseley by tendering him along with Nick Mullins, Jeff Wilson Jr., Ross Dwelly, and Daniel Brunskill. So it kind of shows you guys who the 49ers are looking at to be kind of, not necessarily the future, but they like these guys enough to go ahead and put a tender on them. Obviously, all these guys contributed. Jeff Wilson Jr. contributed last year. Dwelly contributed. Brunskill, I guess, for a little bit there. And then Mullins is the backup quarterback. So this just shows, in my opinion, really the focus here is Emmanuel Moseley, that they are very keen on having him possibly be the starting cornerback for all 16 games instead of just 8 starts like he did this past year, in which he was very, very good and got all the starts in the postseason as well. So we have tendering Moseley. He's cheap now. He's going to be a 1-year deal, and hopefully he's going to try to play up to that deal the way he gets another big deal later on in his career. But good news overall for our 49ers in tendering these 5 players and going ahead and keeping Emmanuel Moseley on this squad, because then, if you didn't, it'd be a Keller Witherspoon or I guess finding free agent money to go to get a free agent cornerback, which we all know would be very, very hard to do because we don't have a lot of money. We've talked about it in plenty of videos here on the 49ers Report. There you go. How about that? The big one today, and the one you're going to click on this video for, is obviously Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't read into it too much. I had to report it, but I wouldn't read into it too much. The big news in this one, obviously, is Emmanuel Sanders. If no contract has been offered, then he's probably done in San Francisco. We'll keep an eye on that over the upcoming days and weeks. All the time we have for today. For the 49ers Report, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.